I would like to thank all of the following Patreon supporters who have helped make this video possible. Hey guys, how's it going? Part 3 of my favorite live albums of all time in my collection on vinyl, not on CD or anyway, sorry. So this is going to be part 3. I'm going to cover 20 through 11. These are just my personal preferences. I know you may think I've got a record ranked too low or too high, but I'm just saying these are, and when I think about, what's your favorite, what albums do I enjoy listening to the most? Which, if I'm going to listen to a live album, which ones am I going to pull out and actually listen to? And so, as we get into the top of my list, just know it's not going to be coalescing maybe with your top 10 or your top 20, but it's just the way it is. But I appreciate all the comments, appreciate everybody who's commenting. Jeff, you have the best channel ever. Jeff, you're an engaging personality. Jeff, you're my favorite YouTuber ever. I really appreciate that. You guys are so kind. And keep them coming. All right, so number 20. Got a little Aerosmith live bootleg. Really, it's just called bootleg, but they got to print it. There was a typo. Somebody got a little carried away with the stamper. Meant to look like a bootleg, I suppose. Like what? Do all bootlegs, do people rest their coffee cups on their bootleg albums? Do all bootlegs come with stripes? I get what they were going for, but at the same time, doesn't look like any other bootleg I have. But anyway, I know it's not a bootleg. It was just sort of a way to circumvent the bootleggers who were taping Aerosmith shows. But yeah, great double live album. When people talk about great double live albums, why doesn't this one usually end up in the conversation? At least videos I have seen. But this has got a great cross-section of Aerosmith's material up to this point. But for me, what I really like, I love the cover of Come Together on here. I love Chip Away the Stone, which I think was not on any, I don't think there was a studio album except maybe on one of their classics compilations. Great version of Mama Kin. I love Train Kept a Rollin' on here. They got a cover of Mother Popcorn. What? Isn't that a James Brown song? What in the hell is Aerosmith doing covering James Brown? But yeah, I mean, Train Kept a Rollin' is great. I Ain't Got You. Sort of that side is their return to their blues roots. But yeah, you got Dream On, Walk This Way, Last Child, Toys in the Attic. That first side is amazing too. Opening with Back in the Saddle and then right into Sweet Emotion. Fantastic, great album. All right, when I was saying my little preamble to this video about, well, you may think I've got a record ranked too low. Well, I guarantee a lot of my friends in the vinyl community are going to be like, why are you ranking that album so low? I have it on my list, okay? Yeah, number 19, Kiss Alive. Why do I have Kiss Alive so low? Everybody knows this is the best live album of all time. Well, settle down, okay? Number one, I'm just not as big a Kiss fan as some of my friends are. I mean, I like Kiss. I've been growing to like Kiss a bit more. And yeah, this is a phenomenal live album. But, you hear so many things about Kiss were, lip syncing. You got Anton Fig on drums. You got Bruce Kulick on guitar. It's not really Ace and Peter. They took some stuff and they added overdubs in the studio. It's not live at all. This is a sound check. I mean, all the rumors, all the reasons people have had to knock this album down, or why I knocked this album down. Again, it's me and my own personal preferences. I'm not like a huge hard rock guy. So I think the fact that I got this in my top 20 is fair enough. I just like the albums that I'm picking above it a little bit more. But this is a great live album. And I mean, you guys already know. What am I going to say? I'm not even going to, pretend like, here I am, Aaron Mutha Alamere. I'm going to break down this album. Like, he would do it way better than JC would do it way better. Chris Profey would do it way better. Gary would do a way better review. All I'm going to say is, yeah, I love the fact that this album rocks hard. And I'm with everybody. I prefer the versions on here to the studio albums. There's just a little bit more muscle on here. Songs like Black Diamond, Nothing to Lose is great. She, Got to Choose, Strutter, one of my favorite Kiss songs. Drop a Deuce on #1. Cold Gin, fantastic. I mean, it's every single song on here is just killer. And it's my 19. Number 18, gonna go with Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense. My biggest complaint is the cover on this album. Like, why don't you have the picture of David Byrne in the oversized suit? What is this bullshit with this half a black crescent here? I don't get it. I'm really disappointed. I don't know if there was some sort of sleeve or an Obi strip or something that went on. This was a used copy that I have, but come on, Talking Heads, one of the greatest live albums of the 80s, and you stick it in this nondescript sleeve. But anyway, I'm here to talk about the merits. Yeah, if you haven't seen the concert film is amazing. This came right after the Speaking in Tongues tour. So, that's kind of my favorite era of Talking Heads, that period, like right around, I would say, where Fear of Music through, Speaking in Tongues, that little period in there is my favorite era, where they're kind of getting into a little funky world music. But Psycho Killer is great, where you just got David Byrne with his guitar and kind of that beatbox thing that he's got going on. Slippery People is great. Burning Down the House. CD version has expanded tracks on it. This is just sort of an 8-track, almost like a sampler, because it doesn't have near what you see in the movie. Check the movie out if you haven't seen that yet, but you got Once in a Lifetime. And I'm disappointed they put that David Byrne song, What a Day That Was, on here. I mean, it's fine, but just knowing what other tracks there were. But even with that song on here, it's just a great live album. Life During Wartime, Take Me to the River, love that version on here. So yeah, Stop Making Sense. Number 17. Jeff, you're a Beatles fan. Why isn't that #1? Okay, well, sort of a couple reasons. I love the Beatles. Yes, I do. But kind of like the Kiss album, there was some studio overdubbing on here, which makes it a little bit less than authentic live album. But I will tell you, it is still awesome to hear the Beatles at the height of Beatlemania, churning out songs like She's a Woman, Ticket to Ride, Can't Buy Me Love, Things We Said Today, Hard Day's Night, Help, All My Loving. Even with all the crowd noise, it's a great artifact of Beatlemania. It's fantastic. Okay, number 16. Live Killers by Queen. This was released right after, I think it was the Jazz album. So this is Queen kind of at the height of their fame, I guess you could say. They're heading into the 80s. My favorite period of Queen for sure. Leads off with We Will Rock You. You got Death on Two Legs from the Night at the Opera, Killer Queen, Bicycle Race. I mean, hit after hit after hit. And that's what's great about Queen, is just even in the 70s, take out the 80s altogether, Queen was just killing it with hits. I'm in Love with My Car, Get Down, Make Love, which Nine Inch Nails actually did a cover of. You're My Best Friend. Then you got kind of the side with deeper stuff on here. Now I'm Here, Dreamer's Ball, Love of My Life, Keep Yourself Alive, one of their great early hits. Don't Stop Me Now, Brighton Rock, Yes, from the Sheer Heart Attack album, Bohemian Rhapsody. Yes, Sheer Heart Attack, We Will Rock You. This is a fantastic double album. Great. And if you're a Queen fan, you got to pick this up, because it just shows you what a great live act it was, what a great frontman Freddie Mercury was. And you're going to love every single song on here. All right, we are at number 15. Sting, Bring On the Night. And this was, it's interesting, Sting, first of all, the Police didn't put out a live album during their time together until later, the reunion. Also, Sting only had one solo album to this point. This was after Dream of the Blue Turtles. He put this double album out, but it's great. And Sting at this time was kind of at his most pretentious. I remember in interviews at the time, he's like, I'm not playing rock or pop music anymore. I'm a jazz guy. And so he got a heavy jazz influence, but I love it because I love that Sting wasn't just going to continue the Police sound. He got more into kind of that, almost like Weather Report, like that jazz rock hybrid a little bit. But you got the title track, Bring On the Night, When the World Is Running Down, You Make the Best of What's Still Around, one of my favorite Zenyatta Mondatta tracks. Moon Over Bourbon Street, Love is a Seventh Wave, One World from my favorite album, Ghost in the Machine, as well as Demolition Man. This is great. The fact that we didn't have a Police live album, I mean, this is kind of the second best thing, I would say. And the band sounds great. Sting sounds great. My biggest complaint is, why don't we get a gatefold? Why couldn't you had the expense to put together a double album. Could we at least get a gatefold? That's one of my pet peeves. Can I go on a little rant here? If it's a double album, put it in a gatefold. I hate these where you just got like a little bit wider sleeve. You got to stick both the albums in there. Just, it can't cost that much more money to put it in a gatefold. Then you can have an attractive opening thing. If you don't want to put them in custom sleeves, fine. But let's just get a gatefold. And that's not the first album I've shown like this, but it's just irritating. All right, wait a minute. What number was that? Okay. No, I'm sorry. Now we're on number 14. Genesis, Seconds Out. So this was right before Steve Hackett jumped ship. It was after Peter Gabriel jumped ship. And it's a live document. I think it was from their Wind and Wuthering tour, it would have been. But what I like about this is you've got not only Phil Collins singing the great material that they did as a quartet, but you've got Phil Collins tackling some Peter Gabriel songs. And his vocals sound remarkably similar to Peter Gabriel. You got Squonk, which is off a Trick of the Tail, the Carpet Crawl. I don't know why they call it the Carpet Crawl on here. It's actually the Carpet Crawlers from The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Robbery, Assault and Battery, Firth the Fifth from my favorite Genesis album, Selling England by the Pound. I Know What I Like, also from that album. You got The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Musical Box, all the way back to Nursery Crime. Supper's Ready from Foxtrot takes up the whole of side 3. This is an amazing, amazing live album. Dance on a Volcano, Cinema Show. Yeah, Genesis, one of the coolest live albums from the 70s, especially if you're a prog rock fan. But love that one. 13. Gonna go with some Beach Boys. This one is Beach Boys 69. This didn't come out till the 70s, but one of my favorite periods of the Beach Boys, and one of the most overlooked periods, is that late 60s period after the Smiley Smile album, where you had Wild Honey, and then you had Friends, you had 2020, Sunflower, although this predates Sunflower. But it's got a great selection of songs. Their repertoire was like their more popular stuff, like Wouldn't It Be Nice, Good Vibrations, Barbara Ann. But then you've got the more recent stuff like Darlin' and Do It Again, Wake the World, Aren't You Glad, which are great tracks from Wild Honey. Their Hearts Were Full of Spring, the Four Freshmen a cappella, how they harmonize together. That's a great showcase for their vocal harmonies. So yeah, I really like this, even though, they were big in Europe, which is, I think this was taken from their London concerts. So they weren't drawing these kind of crowds over in the States because people had moved on from the Beach Boys. They thought they were kind of a novelty act anymore. And that band that sings about surfing and cars and they wear the striped shirts, they were really kind of passé, even though they were growing out their sideburns and some of them were growing their hair longer and starting to, get into the whole beard thing. But still, this is a great document of one of my favorite periods of the Beach Boys. Okay, number 12. going back to the Doors, but this time I am showing Live at the Bowl 68. Not this one. Not this one. This was an EP. It's really almost like a 12-inch single, actually. You got Wake Up, Light My Fire on side one. That's it. And then you got Unknown Soldier, and then A Little Game, The Hill Dwellers, more Jim Morrison poetry, and then Spanish Caravan, a very abbreviated version. This was such a disappointment when it came out. It's like, this is all we get? I have no idea why they put this out as an EP when we know this is a double album. This is an EP. I'm not sure the logic why. Maybe they were dipping their toe in the water. Well, we're not sure anybody's going to buy a Doors Live LP, so we'll just do a budget-priced EP or something. But, I mean, come on, it's the Doors. So, anyway, I'm glad they rectified it. They put this album out. This is the entire concert, and it's amazing. It's available on DVD if you want to check out the whole thing. But Jim Morris is at his most charismatic frontman best. Love this. Finally, we're getting some, Doors classic songs. Light My Fire's on here. Unknown Soldier. The End. We do have, A Little Game, The Hill Dwellers. Everything that was on the EP is on here. Spanish Caravan. Hello, I Love You is on here. Yes. The Wasp, Texas Radio, The Big Beat is great. Backdoor Man, 5 to 1. This is the Doors album to own. This one kicks ass. All right, and my number 11 at the cusp of my top 10, Deep Purple, Made in Japan. Yeah, this is, again, a great document of one of the hardest rocking bands in the universe. Love that, God, Space Truckin', holy crap, is that an epic or what? Strange Kind of Woman, Smoke on the Water, as you would expect, The Mule, Child in Time, Highway Star. This album kicks so much ass. There aren't a lot of songs on here, but they're just extended guitar workout. The band is absolutely amazing. I can't imagine seeing them live back in the day, how fantastic that would have been. But they just kill it on this album. And I think very unfortunately, everybody talks about Black Sabbath being so heavy. But Deep Purple, I think they show on here, this is like Kiss Alive, really. I mean, I don't know that there's any studio overdubs. There's probably a few. But it's like, yeah, the power of the band live. I mean, the studio is one thing, but these live recordings are just epic. So, all right, getting down to the final episode. And, it was almost like when I went to do this video, like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. I don't know, sometimes I just get in these moods where I just get a little burned out. But, looking at all those great albums, it's kind of got me fired up again. So, anyway, hope you're doing great. Let me know what your favorite live albums are, what would be in your next batch of 10, or what would be in your top 20. Click the subscriber button. Become a Patreon support. Patreon. Get out of here with your Patreon. Patreon you. Anyway, have a great day.